Yeah, maybe.
Call PETA.
Yes, call PETA on Maria. I'll give PETA her real name if they ever call me. But anyway, so after she gets done yelling at the dog, she turns around and then she just starts cooking on her stove. And I'm sitting there like, oh, like what are you cooking? And she's like, teriyaki chicken. And I'm just like, oh, have you not eaten dinner yet? And she was like,
That's
no.
like 12.
Yeah, no, it's like 11:30, maybe 11:45 at this point. She's like, oh, no, I'm just meal prepping for the rest of the week. I'm just like, oh, okay. So, yeah, she decided that she's going to meal prep. Right, yeah, she decided she's going to meal prep while I'm there. So it's whatever. Like, I'm just trying to have a conversation. We're talking about my job and her job and how we're starting this business and podcast and everything. And she doesn't really take any interest in any of it. Like, I'm trying to bring up topics.
Did you tell her it was about online dating?
No, I didn't tell her. I did not tell her that. But at this point, she starts complaining about me being there. She's talking about how she has to get up real early. She's not sure why she even invited me up there. And she said that time. She said that she had to get up real early to go to a what was it? A rugby game.
To go clean dolphin blowholes?
Yeah. She said that she had to go to a rugby game like 2 hours away, so she had to get up at like 5:30 in the morning. And
She plays rugby, guys.
Yeah. At that point, I'm
Red
just
flag.
Like, oh, boys. I'm like, why did I even come up here? I didn't say that to her, but I was basically just like, you know, I mean, if you don't want me here, like, I can just leave. Like, I'll go to the bar or something. And then she was like, oh, you're just going to guilt me now and say you'll go to the bar? And I was like, I mean, no. Like, I actually like the bars up here in Lex, so, like, it's not a big deal. She was like, no, you can stay. And I was like, okay. And then, a long story...
Like, nah, I'm good.
This is what we call the penis fly trap. How long did this go on?
Oh, probably about 30, 45 minutes. Long story short, she just basically tells me that I'm wrong about like everything that we're talking about. Even though I have experience in a lot of things that we were talking about, she just tells me that I'm wrong.
I think she wanted you to aggressively fuck her.
Yeah,
In the kitchen.
Honestly, and it gets down to it. Eventually, she grabs a cigarette and goes out to the front porch and starts smoking it, and we're still talking. And then eventually she was just like, yeah, you are really soft-spoken comparatively to the way that you text.
And she was texting me.
No, she
90% of the time.
She wasn't texting you. I was actually the one texting for this girl. For a lot of the girls in the past that I haven't gone on dates with, you know, I've taken Ryan's texts and used those.
I texted her when you guys first started talking.
Maybe like in the...
I was there.
I don't think so. I think this one was me. There was one, I think when we initially set up the first date that she was supposed to come on and then she canceled, that was you texting, but everything else was me. But anyway, she said I was soft-spoken comparatively, and I was like, well, you know, you got to be aggressive, get on the dates, whatever. I don't know. Basically, at the end of the night, she is talking about how she hates her best friend and that they're in a huge fight right now. And I was like, well, you don't have to be her friend if you hate her so much. And then she was like, nah, but I love her. She's my best friend. And then she was like, yeah, she's trying to be really nice to me right now and messaging me. And I was like, okay. And then she gets a phone call from some dude and she puts it on speakerphone. And the dude's just like, yeah, your friend is like really drunk. Like she can't even stand up. So you need to come and get her. And she's like, oh, I guess I'll come and get her, and then hangs up the phone. And at this point, I'm just like, yes, like, I gotta get out of here, like, no worries. She goes in the house, and I'm not following her at this point. Like, I walk down the stairs from the porch. I'm just like, all right, like, I'm ready to go. And then she comes back out. She, like, walks past me, like, goes towards her car, and she's like, oh, man, like, I'm so drunk. Like, I shouldn't even drive. And at this point, I'm feeling pretty bad. I'm just like, oh God, like I don't want to drive if she's that drunk. I'm just like, hey, like I can drive you over there and like pick her up if you want. She was like, no, it's okay. I would rather drive. And at that point I was like, yes, like I have an excuse. Like I'm getting out of here. And I was like, okay, like see you later. Get in my car, pull out as fast as I can, drive away. Okay. So what are your guys' opinions on this date so far.
Wow, this girl's single? How? I don't know how that happened.
He's like,
Give me her number.
She sounds like a delight.
What about you, Billy Bob?
I would have walked away when she walked away from you in the
once
beginning.
you open the door?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I'll
and
just
just
quietly close the door,
Yeah.
and then be gone.
But you can understand why I didn't know. Like,
Right, if this is your first date ever,
well, my first,
your first Tinder date ever,
right.
then yeah, okay, maybe I would have just said, let's see how this plays out.
I mean, I didn't want anything from her. Like, I wasn't interested in her by the time.
But did that take off the stress when you saw how fat she was?
It did. It took off a little bit of the stress, and I was just like, look, like, I just want to see how this goes. Like, talk to her, just have a date experience, to be honest, because sometimes that's what you got to do to get over the hump. You know what I mean?
And
You went over to a fat girl's house and she just spent the whole time making food? That's a cartoon. That's a cartoon.
Yeah, she was making food the whole time, and then
did she eat it?
then she smoked a cigarette and was talking about how I was wrong about everything.
And how much she hated her best friend.
Yeah, and she was really aggressive about it all
Yeah,
too.
say.
Like, it wasn't like she was trying to be witty. Like, she was actually being mean about most of it. And I was sitting there just like, what have I gotten myself into? You know what I mean?
So, how many more dates have you gone on with her?
I haven't gone on any more dates with her. Literally, as soon as I left her place, I got on Snapchat, deleted her, or unfriended her, got on Tinder, and deleted our match. Yeah.
Swatted her, called 911, SWAT team.
Exactly. But the interesting thing is, guys, remember how she said that she had to get up super early to go to a rugby game? I don't care, but she snapped me at like 3:30 in the morning later, and it was
After you deleted her?
Yeah, and it was a video of her with all these dudes and I guess her friend, and they were all super drunk at this party. And I was like, okay, well, I guess have fun at your rugby game then, being hungover. But yeah, it was a great first experience.
But you popped your cherry.
Popped my Tinder cherry, yeah.
That's the most important thing.
Right.
And then you went on another date after that, didn't you?
I did. I went on another date with a girl from Bumble.
See, because you're not as scared now, so you're just like,
Exactly.
at least it's going to be better than the last one.
I'm just like, yep, anything is going to be better than that. So I went on another one this past week, and we're going to bring that to you on the next podcast.
Okay, then let me...
Yeah, that's a great story as well. And then we don't have enough time to tell you that one right now. But I have a question. What was it that changed in your mind? Because you wouldn't go on a date for the past year that you've been on Kismet, and that you've had like probably 100 girls actually want to go out with you. What changed what make you just now decide to go on a date?
Well, honestly, it had a lot to do with me being comfortable with the material and being confident in the material from Kismet. And then part of it was just my mental health as well. As I do, for the past couple years, I've been going through a lot of stuff. I haven't been very confident in myself, and I've just gotten to the point in my life now where I'm just we're getting more phone calls here.
Let's silence our phones, gentlemen.
But anyway, I've just gotten to the point where I'm really confident.
Too many bitches calling.
Yeah, I'm really confident in the Kismet material, what I've learned so far. And I'm just to the point where I'm just like, fuck it. Like, I want to go out there and have some fun. Like, I'm tired of watching all these other guys go out there and get girls, go on dates, whatever. I'm just like, look, I want to get a little piece of the action as well. And I know that's how a lot of you guys out there feel too, is you're sitting there watching 5% of the guys out there get, 50 to 60% of the girls, because we know some of them are not girls that are wanted to be gotten, but they're getting the girls that you want, or they're getting the girls.
It's the 80-20 rule. 20% of the guys get 80% of the girls. That's the way it works.
Yeah.
With business and everything else.
I mean, you're watching those guys get the majority of the action, and you're sitting there like, look, I am ready to have some fun. I am ready to go on dates. I might not be interested in hooking up. I might not be interested in a long-term relationship, but you want to go out and have some dates and have some fun. And that's what you want to do. That's what I wanted to do. And I was finally to that point in my mind where I was just like, look, I'm just going to go and do it. because I'm tired of sitting here and waiting. Like, I'm just going to go and do it, you know?
Yeah. You just got to get to the point where you're so sick of where you are that you're willing to take massive action to change your life. And that's what you did.
And sometimes it's going to turn out to be a super overweight girl that looks completely different from her Tinder profile and is a bitch and mean to you and lying about her best friend, whatever it is. Sometimes
Honestly,
it's
I'm
going to be
glad
that.
that it was that and you didn't get like a 10, because if you got there and she was a 10, you would have just like swallowed your own tongue and pissed your pants and left, and then you would have felt like shit.
Oh, for sure.
But this, since it happened this way, you can put all the blame on her and be like, well, you know, she was horrible, that's why the date didn't work. And so you get to preserve your, like, masculinity.
Right. And honestly, Kismet kind of, you know, it doesn't necessarily say this, but just from my opinion and having this experience, I think everybody should go out, not necessarily get catfish, but go out and have a date with somebody who you might not think that you're as interested in, just to get your nerves out of the way.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Like, oh, 100%. If you're like most guys on Kismet and you really are terrified of women and you just need to get over that initial fear of rejection or fear of success or whatever type of fear that you have, that just that really low self-esteem, just go out and have fun with the girl, even if she's not very attractive, and just have a good time. And realize that it's not such a big deal.
Or have a bad time.
Have a bad time. Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Just go out and just prove to yourself that you can do it. And then what happens is you start yourself, it's like a snowball. Once you take a tiny little snowball and start rolling it down the hill, then you're like, okay, so now I can go with another girl that I'm a little bit more interested in. And then you get your confidence up from that, and then you go down the hill a little bit further, and now you go on a date with a girl that you're really interested in, and then it just keeps snowballing, and eventually you've got that momentum built up, and that then you're off to the races.
And that's exactly what's happening for me right now. Is I went on that initial date and I was like, that one sucked, but at least I got it out of the way. Then I went on this other date that we're gonna talk about next week, and I've actually got a second date set up with this girl that I went out with, and I've got a different date that I've set up now as well. So in the upcoming weeks, we're gonna be bringing you those stories. And we're actually going to get the Bullet and Mr. Billy Bob involved to a full extent on the next episode, too. They're going to go through their histories and tell you some of their stories from their dates. And Billy Bob was actually married for a long time, so he's going to go into that with you as well.
Yeah, and let's hear a little bit from you before we go. Just give us a little bit of a teaser of what you're going to be talking about on the next podcast when we fully interview you about your dating life.
Full-on interview with him. We're going to ask him some questions, go through how his early dating life was in his early years, how it's changed through the years, and how being out of the game from being married has changed his mindset and his perspective as well, getting into this new age of dating.
And we're going to monitor his success whenever he starts Kismet within the next week or so. Mm-hmm. You are going to start Kismet, aren't you, Bill? Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're going to get you started, and we will see.
Bullet started as well over here.
Even though he could probably teach it.
He's pretty good himself. So
yeah. We may need to talk about getting you setting you up as a teacher.
Yeah, teacher, admin,
as a guru. Yeah. Welcome to my dojo.
Yes. The dojo of Bullet.
Right. So, real quick, guys, do we have any closing statements from the Bullet and Billy Bob?
I'm still asleep.
Billy Bob's still asleep.
All right, don't wake him up.
The Bullet?
Well, I think Tapley's problem is one that everyone has, but this is, I think it's just important to remember.
Again, we're bleeping out my name there.
Sorry.
Jerry Chase.
All right. I think the problem that Jerry Chase has is very common, but this is actually an aphorism that I've been working on. This is one that I've coined. It goes, there's plenty of fish in the sea. What this means is basically there's a lot of girls.
Playfish.com.
Even if you mess up on one, there's a lot more. And this is something that I created. So just remember that one aphorism. Just think of women like fish. And just if you mess up on one, there's a lot more.